Which one you gotta pick? The creamy one?
Okay. So I want to see. Let's see if you do. You might. Yeah, you probably will need me. Well, let's see. Yeah, I will. I'm gonna stay over here. Let me toe. Will you let Mariana know that I am gonna stay over here and help with the video? Thanks! Exclamation mark.
Who are you talking to?
Oh,
Is that how you send a text message? You ask your watch?
yeah, you ever seen this? It's an Apple Watch. So yeah, it's sending a text.
Oh, that's
Sometimes the messages are a little strange.
Like it just gives it a question mark, which whatever. Okay. Anyways, all right. So we are recording. How would you like to do this?
If we can either put the camera on the floor or if we can get the hem high enough to see it.
So let's bring this down here.
Is it pinned right
No.
now?
Oh shit. No.
Oh, okay. Do we know how much it needs to be hemmed, or where are we?
So I just went and got one that has nothing done to it. I can also go get one. There is one in alterations.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Do you want to see both?
Let's look at this just for now, and we can talk about it. So we're just doing purely theoretical. We're not doing a specific bride right now.
Yes.
Okay. If you can, that outer layer has horsehair at the bottom, right? That one does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then once we get underneath that layer, what are we looking at? Like a lot more tulle, like a variety of tulle layers. Yep. Are they shorter? Do they look? No, that's just the camera.
No, they're not shorter.
Three.
Okay.
3 layers of tulle that's the same length.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same.
Okay. And then under that we've got lining.
Mm-hmm.
And then is there a crinoline under there?
Yep.
Oh, it's a lot shorter though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Crinoline is, yeah.
Okay. So for something like this, and I'm just gonna talk in a really basic way. I hope you guys won't be offended since I don't have any idea where we're all coming from. But yeah, so if I were looking at this dress, then I would
let's have them real quick just tell you what their experience is.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, let's do that because I don't think she hasn't seen your resume. I don't think you've seen the resumes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can you tell her real quick? Just.
Well, I come from a more of a custom side where we made the dresses from scratch. So we did a lot of cutting and a lot of pattern making in a sense. But for my personal role, I did a lot of the sewing. I sewed in horsehair. We didn't we didn't do a lot of bridal. Well, we did have a few bridal clients. It was mostly for me was prom and just custom for like events, or somebody was doing like a pageant or something like that, something of that nature. You guys are dealing with a lot of different designs that I'm not very familiar with because I'm dealing with somebody that specifically designed their own dresses. So we didn't use 3-4 layers of tulle and crinoline a lot. For me to say for alteration, I have taken, usually when we do horsehair shortening, I just take the whole thing off, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And readjust it to their length, and then sew in a whole another piece, or maybe reuse it depending on if it's not too damaged for me taking it off. So yeah, we went through a whole different process. That's why I had advised to just train me on what y'all business process is like.
But she has the fundamentals like down.
Yeah.
So I don't need that training process.
Okay. And then Naya, where'd you go? There you are.
Hi. So I start with designs from scratch.
Oh, tell her about your experience and stuff. Where'd you go to school?
Okay, so I went to Parsons in New York, and we make our clothes from scratch. But then my work experience was also in New York. I was at Alexandra Greco, and so the dresses looked most like Justin Alexander's dresses with sequins and appliques like this. At Greco, I would take off the shoulder straps and put new ones on because when the brides would try them on at the bridal shops, it might get dirty with makeup or just wear and tear. I can also do the applique, the hand sewing of appliques like this one. I can hand sew it all back on there. And I can, just my own experience, like altering garments, like I can put a slit in a dress, I can hem a dress with a serger or hand stitching or a single stitch. I've never put in horsehair, but I understand how to do it.
Which is perfect, cool. So you're not dealing with, so they're very seasoned. We're not throwing you a Dinah, okay?
Okay. Well, as long as people are honest with me about where they are, I won't have any problems.
Yes.
Dinah was only a problem because she was like, I can do all this, and then she definitely couldn't. Okay, great.
I'm going to chime in one more thing. That's one of the biggest things with us. Transparency. If you don't know how to do something, I told you this in your interview, it is okay. We offer grace. Like, it is fine. Like, we don't want you to feel like you have to say yes. Like, you will not get in trouble. Please, I can't say that enough. Please. Okay.
If I say something to you and you don't know what I'm talking about, just be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I'll be like, okay. But I will try to talk from just like a very like basic, like start off from a very basic point, just because it's easier. Because even, I mean, you guys must know, like, even when you're talking to other people who sew, you know, vocabulary can get mixed up. Different people can mean different things when they say different stuff, you know, so it's very important to just keep talking and keep making sure that like everybody's clear, because I'll get excited and I'll be like, you know, right, okay, and you'll be like, what, yeah, you know, and I'll like want to run on. So just stop me and be like, I don't know what you're talking about, you're crazy. That makes it easier. So cool, very cool. Okay, well, you know, we're coming from a very different standpoint. Like, it helps very much to be like a technical seamstress and know how to sew and know how to machine sew, know how to build a garment from scratch, know how to pattern, know how to cut, all that stuff. Super helpful, because we're coming from a place of wanting perfect, beautiful alterations. We just need them to be temporary. So, you know, throwing someone who doesn't know how to sew into this mix is not good, you know, so it helps to have a lot of the skills that you guys are talking about. What we try to do is create a beautiful look that, instead of lasting a lifetime, lasts for 12 hours. You know, so we want it to look as beautiful as if it were permanent, but we only need it to last that day, so we can get away with a lot. And we need to protect our dresses, you know, so we couldn't, for example, with the horsehair, like if we were taking the horsehair off and putting it back on every time, you know, like it would end up really damaged really quickly. So, you know, A, it takes a really long time, and B, the dress would end up damaged. So we kind of have to do workarounds that save us time and then also protect our dresses from getting damaged. Because, I mean, y'all know, like if you take a dress apart at the seams, put it back together, you can do that
only so many times.
Twice, yeah. Before it's just so damaged that you can't do it again. So we do a lot of hand sewing. So it helps to have a great machine sewing background, and know how, you know, garments get put together. And we definitely have to use machine sewing for different applications, but we do a lot of hand sewing. And it sounds counterintuitive that would be faster, but it is for the way that we use it. So I'm just going to use this dress as an example right now. If I were looking at this dress on a bride and I had her in her shoes that were the right height, I would take that outer layer with all the applique and the tulle. And the reason that bridal has so many layers often is just simply because it's white, so it's sheer. So it has a buttload of layers so that it won't be sheer. There's hardly any reason more than that. You know, if this dress were just this tulle layer and then lining and crinoline, you'd see the crinoline, you'd probably be able to see the bride's legs. So we're dealing with all these layers, usually not for any reason other than that. You know, you don't need a lot of layers to make a big dress. You need a lot of stiffener underneath, but then you need layers to cover it up so that you can't see it. So if I were looking at this dress on a bride, I would take that outer layer and I would, first of all, I would take all the inner layers and I would kind of scoop it under and out of the way. Like I might even safety pin it in about 3 places in the front, just so it's up high enough that she's going to be able to see her legs. Like if I lifted up the top layer, she could see her feet, just so it's out of the way, right?
Do you want us to do this as you're going?
Yeah, let me
What do you think?
So it's
maybe
on the bride,
I'll go grab some safety pins from the other side.
and then we pin
Yeah, you just want to get it out of your way so that it's not in your way anymore. Because you're not really going to pin any of those layers while the bride's wearing it. You don't need to.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, you're gonna take all those layers and you're just like literally do like a center front and then centered between center front and each side seam just to get it like up.
Okay.
Because you want to be able to have her standing there so that you can see her feet and that outer layer of the dress, because you're going to use that outer layer as how to show her how long her dress is going to be. You know, if you were doing an alteration for a permanent dress for someone for an event or for a wedding, you would pin every layer individually on her, and it would take a really long time. But we don't need to do that here, so we don't.
Okay, so I did this. I kind of I pinned it underneath.
Okay.
This is over Zoom.
Yeah.
I know, it's so hard. I'm like all up in the
And
camera.
also there's silver pins.
Okay, I went much higher than you did, Brianna.
I did. Yes, you did.
Okay, maybe that's too
It doesn't really matter how high, right? Just as long as she can see her feet.
Let's say she needs the dress hemmed about 4 inches. You'd probably just want to fold the other layers under like 6 to 8 inches, just so they're a couple inches higher, so she can see her shoes, and we can look at her in a mirror and see the top layer of the dress and then her shoes underneath it.
So this is the first part of the fitting, like. Tell me again. So this is the first step with the bride, lifting all of these layers off the ground so she can see her feet. Right?
Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry. This is the first step of doing the hem. You don't want to do everything to the bodice to make sure the dress is fitting exactly the way that you want it before you get to the hem.
Okay.
So if you pin your hem and then you alter the bodice, then it might be shorter, it might be longer. So you do all of the body of the dress fitting, and then deal with the hem.
Let me ask you this, Shay. So we're trying to make sure that the stylist is getting her measurements, including her height. This is definitely something, tell me if I'm wrong, that they can do before she even comes in, correct?
Yeah, just to have it up and out of the way.
So something that I'm really trying to get, just efficiency and this dress is so big I can't see you. Just efficiency and everything is like, what can you do before she comes in? So, and this is definitely one of those things. So if you know that this dress is coming, or a dress that's similar with multiple layers, and she's 5'2", you know, like, you don't have to but you don't have to spend time doing this in the appointment. You can go straight to seeing what needs to be hemmed and everything else, right?
Right.
Okay.
And you'll get, as you go along doing this, so we're just like, oh, I know exactly how to do this, and then we really fast for you. And you guys are only doing the front, right? Because we only ever have in the front.
Okay, just the front.
Yeah, just the front. Side seam to side seam.
The side seam, yes or no?
Yes.
In some dresses, you don't have to pin up the underlayers. You know, some dresses you'll be able to very effectively give her a visual and like decide on what the length is going to be. Like in the what are the 8920s, London?
Yeah, it's
Like those don't have as much stuff going on. You know, so a dress like that, you can, you know, you won't have to pin up all those layers. Just this dress is so big that it's easier to have them out of your way.
I think the last one we have of that is in rotation now. But yeah.
Oh, you guys are getting rid of that one?
Yeah, but he discontinued it. Justin discontinued it.
Oh, that's right. So popular.
Feels high already. No, it's not.
Yeah, this will mostly be on ball gowns. Or if it's a mermaid dress that has like, or a mermaid or a fit and flare that has tons of layers at the bottom, then you would essentially also do this, but yeah.
Man, I wish I were there. It'd be so much easier.
Teleportation.
I know.
I was about to say instant transmutation.
My mom's nagging me to come back to Atlanta, so maybe I'll
For good or just a visit?
just to visit, but maybe I could pop in.
Yeah. I should have chosen one that I could fit in. I guess I could technically fit in this one, just not the back.
What size is it?
I think it's like 8 or a 6. All right, so I think they're good there.
Okay, so what we're doing with our dresses is we are trying to make the top layer look good, and then I know it's hard to believe, everything under there is going to pretty much vanish. You know, there can be exceptions, but in general, we're going to be able to just hem the top layer of the dress so it looks great, and then it's going to cover up all the other sins that are inside there. So if I'm having this dress, I'm looking at this, you know, if it's shorter, if the hem that she needs is less than the horsehair, I'm just going to fold the horsehair along wherever it needs to be folded. So, you know, she's looking at herself in the mirror, you're working on her hem, and then hope, you know, the hope is she'll need it. We try to do like in folds of the horsehair.
Let me just
Otherwise,
throw it on. Let me throw it on. I'll throw it on real quick. That'll help you see it. Yeah, that banana cream donut's fire. Holy crap.
So should we remove this top stitch of the horsehair and then we can pull the horsehair up?
no, you really, unless it's a really special situation, you're gonna try to always leave it on.
Okay.
And we're literally just gonna
Gotcha.
fold the dress around it.
And when you were saying we can actually fold the horsehair, or are you saying like?
You
fold the
can,
horsehair
it's
up?
better if you can do it like in widths of the horsehair, just
Gotcha.
because
Not
it looks a
big.
little less crazy,
Oh,
but
are we doing this?
Yes, that's what she's saying. And I guess when we hand sew it, we ain't gotta like go too crazy with it.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking like we take this out and then pull that up, and that's too difficult.
Yeah.
That okay. So we can
So we
actually
can
just do this.
She didn't
But
tell us
you-
that we put it on. Yeah, putting it on.
We're tugging it left and right.
Yeah, and that's what like thankfully we have Shay now, but like we had a seamstress that said it took her 6 hours and like 3 days to do this dress, and I'm like, what? And it was because she was doing it the way that you're saying. Okay, this isn't gonna. I'm gonna stand up here. Will you just corset? It's just like one, just so it's not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Falling.
And-
Strings different.
Yeah, and in bridal, like the dresses are already coming long. I think like a 5'10" woman is like 5'10", so we get a lot of shorter brides that like this dress.
yeah, the dresses, they come really long with a lot of extra length, which is,
Crazy.
it is not super ideal for what we're doing, but we make it work.
Highly doubt I'm gonna fit in an 8, but you can just do it as much as possible, just so it stays. Cool. Okay, that feels pretty secure.
Oh.
All right, and then you just want to move the camera.
Probably just be on the ground.
Yeah, if you just change the angle of it. Hi. I took So you can see my feet. Yeah, isn't this gorgeous?
Yes.
Yep.
Focus is kind of bad. Okay, so still
me to
looks
get
like we
off
have
the
some
pedestal?
long layers there, but so we're looking at London. And then we have to ask London, obviously, like, London, how long do you want this dress to be? Do you want it to kiss the floor? Do you want it, an inch off the floor? Like, and she would have her shoes on. So we, do you want to see your shoes? Do you want to not see your shoes?
I don't want to see my shoes, but I want to make sure I'm just not tripping over it.
Okay. So you can start in the center front and you can, turn that top layer under to whatever, like you would to hem the dress to, show her and be like, is this what you mean? And it's easier, so much easier if you can just like turn it under, like, okay, great. You're turning it under once. That looks good, So what I would do in this situation is to be like this, and or you want to pin it because you don't want to, like, because you just fold it and show it to her, she's not going to understand it.
Oh, I see it.
Sorry.
I find I pin everything so that the bride can actually see it, because if she can't see it, I find she does not understand it. Like I was saying about how I get excited and I'm like, it's so great. Okay, and run off. So you might have to pin it a little bit more than just in the center there. But, in this situation, encourage her to be excited about this length. Like, we want her to have what she wants, but we also want to guide her to what is going to be practical. So it's hard to tell for me, is that going to be hitting the floor or is that lying on the floor?
It's way too long.
It's still way too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't really, it's hard to tell. Okay, so you want to, instead of doing just the one fold under, like literally just fold it so that the dress hits the hem of the dress would hit the floor where she would want it.
Yeah, so you're going to want to keep folding.
Okay.
So so in this case, because like I'm 5'5", and let's just pretend I'm wearing flats. I'm not going to wear a heel. So you would roll that like a good 4 times, 4-ish.
One, two, three. I think three is working for the side seam for me.
How far on the sides do they do it?
Just to the side. So we're going to start in the front. And is that
This is the
is
side.
that,
Yeah. Oh, that's the side. Okay.
does that seem right? Like, does that seem like a good length to y'all?
It's right at, it's the ground for London. It's at this platform for London.
Yeah, fold
Okay.
it.
Then yeah.
For the front, it's still kind of, if I fold it again the third time, it's too high.
Yeah, it looks short to me when it's folded 3 times in the
So
front.
2. Yeah, 2.
So here's the thing, like if you're having to fold this dress 3 times, the bulk on that hem is going to be insane.
Gotcha.
It's going to look crazy. So you're going to have to kind of make a decision. Like, do I want to fold it? Like, I would never fold it 3 times. So do I just make us, is that horsehair like 4 inches wide?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, you're going to have to think, like, do I want to fold it twice and have that be the look that we go, or do I want to make an 8-inch hem? So instead of folding it twice, just fold it once, but twice the width.
Got you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, twice the width. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. So right now you've got it folded twice, which can be cool. And it's sort of a trick of the dress. Like, this dress is so big that it might be making your life pretty sad. Because when you double fold horsehair, if you fold it once and you fold it again, you are going to have to figure out how to taper that double fold out to the side seam, which is going to be really a challenge. So you might, see if you can start at the center front on this dress for her, hem it up 8 inches rather than turning it under twice, and then taper that out to the sides and see if that would make your life
Yeah.
simpler.
I think that would.
Can you explain taper tapering?
Okay, so usually we only hem our dresses in the front. We don't hem all the way around the dress. We only hem the front of the dress.
So like this dress is like not flat. Like when we lift it up, it's like waves. So how do we deal with that? Do we like flatten out the waves and then push all the waves to the back of the dress?
It's a tricky process. Okay, so if I were hemming this dress, rather than folding it under twice, I would hem it 8 inches. Okay? And then I would start in the center front. I would pin the center front 8 inches off the ground.
So this is for
So cool. Now I have a starting point, and I know that my goal is to taper this hem out to the side seams so that it's not hemmed anymore by the time I get to the side. It's not, exactly at that point, but basically we want her to not step on the front of the dress during the time that she's wearing the dress. So we hem it from the front to the sides and usually taper it out like just beyond the side seam.
yeah.
So
tapering it out back into. So when we hand sew this down, we tapering it back into the regular hem. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
exactly. So at some point you're going to have to do kind of a diagonal fold through the horsehair near the side seam. And then this extra, because you're right, the skirt is longer at the bottom than it is 8 inches above. So you're going to have to kind of do a combination of smoothing the extra fabric back. You're going to have to take some big giant folds, like right where your hand is.
Which one?
On the right, on the my right, other right.
Brianna.
No, yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Like right there, you could also go ahead and pin it at 8 inches, and then the space in between, you can fold it under to do an excess.
So that's how we deal with the wavy.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And I know it will look crazy to you, but once it's back, like down, touching the floor on top of all those other layers, it won't look crazy anymore to someone who's not a
I
seamstress.
can see like putting a dart here, Brianna. I can like.
Yes, exactly. Like doing a fold through the horsehair.
Okay.
Just like that. And you just pin it there.
And you can hand sew it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And you use great big stitches. I mean, because she's only going to be wearing it for 12 hours, you can do even 2-inch stitches. You do a whip stitch. You can do a cross whip stitch if you want to. You can use clear thread. I don't love it. I usually try to find a thread that's.
Oh, no. No clear.
No, it's so difficult.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
something, Shay, that actually I was going to bring up in the meeting, and I love all of you guys' thoughts, is as I was in that alterations appointment this weekend, what are your thoughts on if every seamstress has her own colored pins, safety pins and regular pins? That way everyone knows who was working on what, even if for some reason a thing gets, like a tag gets mixed up or something. And then also if you need to go help someone on something and you need to change something, okay, Brianna changed it because she's an orange pin.
But you already have like a documented system, like who was last.
Yeah, but I'm saying just in case, like if that paperwork falls out or something.
Yep.
But also, Kat was telling me like everyone has their own signature, so she could literally tell like who pinned what. Like so look at, for instance, you might like using those pins, and she might like using those pins.
Yeah.
But if they're your color, what are your thoughts on that, Shay?
It could work. I mean, I think it,
Just something in
It,
the more people. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it could be, kind of a headache. Just if someone's like, I need pins, and they have to go like find their
Oh, right.
own
Yeah,
special
or buy, like,
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
I know I got
It's my type
couple
A
of my
coming out.
own stuff. Now I was telling Lauren if I could bring my own machine, my own home sewing machine up here.
Oh, totally. You can bring whatever you want. If you need a certain type of light, I have a couple different types of desks back there. I'm trying to get some industrial machines. I'm hoping that as these David's Bridals close down, I can find some.
Use those, baby.
I know.
Right. It's like it's come the old out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah.
That's what it's feeling like.
So just a time check. We have 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because I definitely want you in Mariana's appointments, and I have a meeting, a Zoom. I mean, it would be kind of cool if I was wearing a wedding dress in the Zoom.
Right. Let them know I'm about my business.
Right.
So I
Okay.
understand
So far.
the first layer.
Mhm.
Now,
Okay, so yeah,
Talk
the
about
first
the
layer's
second layer.
clear to y'all.
let's
So,
get to
you're-
the next layers.
Yes, okay, so yeah, for this layer, you're hemming it as much as it needs to be. You want her to improve the length. You're gonna taper it to the corners. You dart it like you were talking about. You know, you're basically trying to hide that horsehair, get it out of the way. So then for the rest of the layers, it looks like you've got a bunch of tulle layers under there. I would basically you don't need to hem pin anything else in the appointment. You're pretty reliably going to be able to use that outer layer that you're gonna like the appointment could kind of be done now. And you'd be like, cool. And then later after the appointment, you can use this guideline of this line that you know is what you want and is correct. And you can just hem everything else an inch shorter than that, or half an inch shorter, probably half an inch shorter. So, you know, you have to make sure that you're paying attention to where the layers line up, because, you know, sometimes the under layers are less voluminous than the bottom layers. But yeah, you can really use this as a guide to, so, you know, you kind of wad all that up, get it out of your way. I think with this one, I would either probably try once I'm on my own out of the appointment, because, you know, we're not trying to keep the brides in appointments forever and ever. I would use that as a guideline once I have that outer layer hemmed, and I would hem all the tulle layers together if I could get away with it. I would hem all the tulle layers and the lining layer together, half an inch shorter than the outer layer. And then honestly, unless it's a situation where the outer layer is extremely sheer, you're going to be able to machine sew all those layers together. So, and you don't even have to undo the hems that you have. So you don't have to hem it under and then, you know, do a baby hem to make, like, you can literally fold it once, pin it up so that you can see for yourself that it's beautifully lined up half an inch shorter than the outer layer, and then just machine sew that stuff. You know, just one long line of machine stitches, and it will get covered up, especially because, you know, you've doubled up all this horsehair. It's going to cover up anything that you do underneath it. And, you know, use your common sense. If you're going about it and you're like, this is starting to look crazy, you know, you might have to make a different decision. But in general, that's really going to work for you. You're just going to be able to hem all those layers together and machine sew them. With a big stitch, you know, you want to use at least a 4 probably. Because we're gonna have to take it back out, and you don't want to be, you know, picking out teeny tiny stitches. So use a big stitch and machine sew all those layers. And then even under that, where you have the short crinoline, that you can do really just like pickups, just to get it higher off the ground. It might even have some.
Like a bustle.
A little bit, yeah, but you can just sew it.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to make it so it's semi-permanent. You do have to take it out afterwards. But, you know, like as many layers as you can get away with pinning together and sewing together on the machine. If you have a short crinoline layer where it's really, you know, the like hard, I think that's what's under there, like a hard, you can literally just do pickups on it, like at the top edge of it, and just sew it to itself so that it's standing up and out of the way.
Is a pickup kind of like what?
Sew it up, pin it up to the dress and then like hand sew it to the inside inner layer.
Uh-huh.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can, or you can, do it in bunches. Do like
Mhm.
6 layers in one group, the next 6 layers in one group. But yeah, outside layer pinned very precisely on the bride at the fitting, sewn by hand, with big stitches, but still very nicely done so that it looks lovely. The inside, just pin it, fold it under, bunch it up,
Okay.
machine sew it, and you're good to go. And I promise you, like to you guys, because you're seamstresses, you'll be like, this looks insane.
Yeah.
But to the
Remember when I
bride,
told you
she
about
will have
it doesn't have to be
no
perfect?
idea.
Yeah, I was telling her, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Every now and then you'll get a
Yeah,
bride
no,
who's
where
like,
it's not
what is
oh my
this?
God,
But like
where-
not
I got you
often.
on
Yeah.
that, respect.
Well, and also like what I try and tell people is, for a lot of, for most people, it's the first time she's ever had a wedding dress on. She doesn't know. And that's why
Yeah.
we try and limit the people that come with her. Like, we don't need grandma's opinion who sews Halloween costumes. Like,
Gotcha.
you are the expert, and we will back you on that. And like, if you start to hear some tension from grandma or whoever, just call one of us or someone like another seamstress or someone just to back you up, because we try and.
Yeah.
COVID
I've
helped because we're like,
experienced
oh, sorry, nobody but the bride. But
Yeah.
you're still gonna have that opinionated aunt that thinks she knows everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gonna make like the idea where we're going with this. And like I came from the theater, so like I have to be like, this person isn't gonna step on this, and nobody from further than closer than 20 feet is gonna ever see this. So I just need to make it look perfect where they can see it and function where they can't. And that function is practical for them because we don't want them to step on the dress, but it's also important for us because we have to save time, and we also want to take good care of our dresses. We just don't have time to be even, and it's not worth it, for someone to borrow something from us or rent something from us essentially for an event, to hand hem however many dozen layers are in that dress. It's crazy, that would be an insane thing to do.
Think about like if a
So, yeah.
celebrity is renting like a dress from Valentino for the Grammys.
Gotcha.
They're doing something similar to this, so they can take that out and then put it on the next person or sell it or whatever. Like, and it's quick, so you just got to get from point A to point B.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every now and then you're going to get someone who works in fashion or who works in bridal, and you're going to have to,
Level set with them.
be aware of that, or like even just like kind of if they catch you doing something to save time, be like, of course, because blah blah blah, how it is, because sometimes people will be neurotic and nitpicky in ways that you never expected, but that's extremely uncommon. It's a little bit like therapy. You have to sort of see where people are coming from. We definitely absolutely don't want to trick anyone. That would be that's very not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is have someone look perfect, for what they're trying to pay in a borrowed dress. We want them to look perfect and beautiful. We can work a lot more illusion than we ever would if someone were buying this dress and it was their dress. It's our dress. We're creating an illusion for them to look perfect on their wedding day. We're not making them a custom gown that they're going to have for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very much about the bride and about it looking beautiful, but it's also about taking care of our dress and our time.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep repeating myself if you guys don't stop me.
No, this is great. Cool. All right, so that's that. This is going to be would you say one of the most intricate hems of everything?
Yeah, I feel like because of the layers, it'll be the layers for me. But other than that, I feel like it's pretty easy.
Cause Shay, I've done I would say 99.9% of the dresses that I've bought since you've left. I've either had them change the hem where it doesn't have any pattern like this on the bottom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'd make sure that not all the dresses have that. Besides, this one is easy because you can flip it.
Yep.
But so we've taken that off or removed it from other ones because that's the big.
Oh, that's great.
You guys were saying like you would take off the
Mm-hmm.
applique, hem it, put the applique, or cut it, put the applique.
But that's my
back on.
first thought because
Yeah.
I come from scratch.
That's exactly, well, and that's the right thought.
But you have to change my
Exactly.
my technique because
Yeah.
I'm working here now.
And that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah, and like we will absolutely, if it's a dress like the 8920,
Mm-hmm.
we will take the applique off and hem the dress and put the applique back on. The difference with that is like we'll take it off. Like if I were working with one of those dresses for the first time, and I worked with those dresses a lot, I would take the applique off. I would hem the dress on the machine to the length that I wanted it to be. And then I would machine the applique back on with a big giant stitch. And, I'm neurotic and I have a lot of experience. So I could machine intricate applique pretty quickly on the machine with a big stitch. But, that helps in a lot of different ways. If I'm machine sewing the hem before I cover it back up with the applique, that saves me a lot of time. And then if I'm machining the applique back on, that saves times. And if I use a big stitch, like a 5, then the next time somebody has to take that thing off, it's going to be that much easier. So I'm not sitting there picking 1 millimeter stitches, like tearing the dress, tearing the lace. So, when we do have a dress like that, we do, still remove, hem, reapply. We just do it in a different, faster, more, next time friendly way than you would on a permanent dress. And we only do it in the front, we wouldn't. So I might literally like take off the applique and then just like pin it to the waist of the dress above me while I hem the dress and then unpin it and then put it back on. Okay. So it's incredibly valuable to know how to remove and reapply applique, but then, you need to do it this way where you're like, I'm taking it off, I'm doing it this, and I'm putting it back in this particular way that makes it easier to take off next time. And I'm hoping to have a meeting with all of you guys when I'm back in China, which is going to be after the 6th or something, where we can talk more about like basic stuff. So if you guys want to be making lists of questions for me or like particular techniques you have questions about, because I think they're going to be things you guys definitely know how to do. And you'll just need to know how we tweak that to make it fit in the Laine London way of doing things. Yeah. So you guys are coming from an awesome place because you have the experience that can be shifted to apply, so yeah, it's going to be cool. You guys are going to do well.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's fun too, because it's a lot of problem solving. That's a lot of what I like about sewing is being like, I need this dress to do this. How am I going to make that happen? So there'll be a lot of techniques that I can tell you guys, and there'll be a lot of different like tricks and methods, but there will be times when you just have a dress and you're allowed to be like, okay, what do I do here?
Yeah. And like, if they're in the middle of like, sorry, I'm like halfway naked, first day of work.
I've seen it.
If they're in the middle of like trying to project plan, they can just send you a video, right? Shoot you a video on Slack, and then if you want to wait till she responds and move to something else, that's
so we
cool.
have that communication.
Yeah. I'm gonna have office hours consistently. I think like Mondays and Wednesdays. So like I'll just be available and working, and so you guys can definitely reach me and get in touch with me. In those will be like, I think the beginnings of y'all's work days.
Okay. Cool.
A couple of days a week, and then in general, like because when I'm in China, it's a 12-hour difference. So there'll be times when you're at work and I'm sleeping, I hope. But you'll be able to send me a video or pictures. And I mean, like, it's not ideal to have to do this via video, but I think we can definitely figure it out. So,
and is Bridal Live an app or is that just a website?
There's a web-based app.
Okay.
It's a little clunky, but we'll have there's laptops and iPads. I'll get the other tablets set up. So however you. Whichever way you want. Some people like the
tablet.
Yeah, Shay like the little tablets, because you can kind of like carry it around and stuff.
So through Bridal Live, we can access the Google Drive, that Excel sheet that Miriam was showing us, the videos,
and then once you guys are so once I'm done with my meeting and I'm off.
There's a fitting. Like,
Yes, right now, yeah, and then we're gonna sit and go over, the alterations manual.
Okay.
Awesome, all right, well, thanks so much, Shay, I really appreciate it.
Not to worry, it
All
was
right.
helpful.
Talk to you later, try and
Nice
get
to
some
meet you
sleep.
guys. Welcome.
Okay.
You're gonna do great.
All right, bye.